Hello, Sitaram. This morning, I want to speak on a very important subject in the month of our Heritage Month. I want to speak about the role of the NCIC in preserving and promoting Indian Arrival Day in Trinidad and Tobago. The National Council of Indian Culture, commonly known as the NCIC, has played a major role in preserving, promoting, and educating the nation about the history and significance of Indian Arrival Day in Trinidad and Tobago. Today, this presentation focuses on the contribution of the National Council of Indian Culture to the observance and development of Indian arrival commemorations in Trinidad and Tobago. Indian Arrival Day marks the arrival of the first ship carrying Indian indentured laborers, the Fatel Razak, which arrived on the 30th of May, 1845. And as a result, we continue to celebrate since 1994, it being a public holiday in Trinidad, Indian Arrival Day on the 30th of May. This year is no exception. The NCIC is going to be having a bumper celebration on the 30th of May, that is this Saturday coming, at the Diwali Nagar compound. Again, a little bit of history. Between 1845 and 1917, more than 140,000 Indians came to Trinidad under the indentureship system. They brought religion, language, food, music, festivals, and customs that became part of the national identity of Trinidad and Tobago. And I have as my backdrop the actual type of ship and the conditions under which they traveled to come to this country. So today I want to examine how the NCIC helped transform Indian arrival from a small community observance into a nationally respected celebration of heritage and identity. Following the abolition of African slavery in the British colonies, the plantation owners sought new labor sources. The British colonial administration introduced the indentureship system, recruiting laborers mainly from northern India. The first immigrants arrived aboard the Fatel Razak in 1845. The journey was difficult. Many immigrants endured poverty, disease, separation from family, and harsh plantation conditions. Yet, despite these hardships, Indo-Trinidadians persevered, and in many aspects of Indian civilization, they preserved it. These included Hinduism and Islam, festivals such as Diwali, Phagwa, Hussein and Eid, and of course, Indian cuisine, folk music and tasa drumming, language traditions such as Bhojpuri and Hindi influences, and family and village traditions. Today, Indian culture is deeply woven into Trinidad and Tobago's multicultural identity. I must say that my own ancestor, Ramadina here, came aboard the ship Roni in the year 1898, and he was sent to the Taruba estate with his Mayaji Sughari, where they started their indentureship contract. Today, Indian culture is deeply woven into Trinidad's multicultural identity, and the National Council of Indian Culture, which was founded in 1964 originally, and according to the organization's history, cultural leaders including Bisram Gopi, Nasalu Ramaya, Moin Mohammed, Farzan Ali, Baliu Maharaj, and then eventually Hans Hanuman Singh, Devkinanand Sharma. They came together to establish an organization dedicated to preserving and promoting East Indian culture. Originally, this organization was known as the National Council for Indian Music and Drama. The organization later evolved into what we know today as the NCIC. The organization became involved in music competitions, dance and drama productions, cultural education, promotion of Indian arts, preservation of traditional customs, and national celebrations. Today, the organization is being led by our newly appointed president, Dr. Surajeo Mangru. Prior to him, we had Senator Devrup Timal, who was preceded by Dr. Kinanan Sharma and Dr. Hans Hanuman Singh. These have been our leaders in the last 30, 40 years and over time, the NCIC became one of the leading cultural organizations in Trinidad and Tobago. One of the greatest contributions of the NCIC has been its role in developing and sustaining Indian Arrival Day observances. And we have moved to accepting the whole month of May as Heritage Month, where you see a lot of activities being hosted at the NCIC. Currently, we had a book launch on Saturday, and we have an ongoing pottery and painting exhibition. Now, in the earlier decades, commemorations were smaller and community-based. I see a revival of that now, even with our politicians starting to hold Indian Arrival Day celebrations. This year, you had celebrations in San Francisco, in Debe, and all over the country, especially in those areas where you had a predominance of Indians from the indentureship program. NCIC has helped to elevate the observance into a national event. The NCIC has organized in the past public lectures, reenactments of arrival scenes, cultural shows, exhibitions, academic discussions, folk performances, and youth involvement in programs. And I know we have taken such activities into communities like Cedrus, Mohis Road, and all those other places. These celebrations educated younger generations about the sacrifice of the indentured laborers, the history of colonialism, the resilience of Indo-Trinidadians, the multicultural growth of the nation. The NCIC also ensured that Indian arrival celebrations were not only religious or ethnic events, but national cultural observances open to all citizens. And that is an important thing that we need to emphasize. Its Indian Arrival Day programs often features tassa drumming, classical Indian dance, chutney and folk music, historical presentations, recognition of community leaders, and educational displays. And this year, we are going to be having a grand celebration on the 30th of May at the NCIC main stage auditorium, and the public is invited. The organization's celebrations at the Diwali Nagar site in Chaguanas have become nationally recognized cultural events. The NCIC is also internationally known for hosting Diwali Nagar, of course, one of the largest Diwali celebrations outside of India. And through Diwali Nagar and Indian arrival activities, the NCIC preserves traditional art forms, encourages youth participation, supports local artists, promotes interfaith understanding, strengthens national unity. The organization has helped preserve Indian music, dance, language, dress, cuisine, and spiritual traditions. The last 2 years, we had food festivals that highlighted the various types of food that were brought by our ancestors and still continue to be part of the daily activities in Indian homes in Trinidad and Tobago. Importantly, the NCIC has worked to present Indian culture as part of Trinidad and Tobago's shared national identity rather than something separate from it. Today, Indian Arrival Day is also a time for reflection. Many historians and citizens acknowledge that indentureship involves suffering, exploitation, and hardship. Some discussions focus not only on arrival, but also on the painful realities of the indenture system itself. Modern observances therefore include celebration of survival, recognition of sacrifice, education about colonial history, reflection on national unity, and appreciation for multiculturalism. Organizations like the NCIC continue to play an important educational role by encouraging historical awareness and cultural pride while also promoting harmony among all ethnic groups in Trinidad and Tobago. As we reflect on Indian arrival and the work of the National Council of Indian Culture, we must recognize that the story of Indo-Trinidadians is also the story of Trinidad and Tobago itself. The descendants of the indentured laborers have helped to build this nation through agriculture, business, education, politics, religion, music, and culture. The NCIC has ensured that future generations understand where their ancestors came from, what sacrifices were made, how culture survived, and why heritage matters. Indian Arrival Day is therefore more than a historical observance. It is a reminder of resilience, contribution, and the continuing journey of a people who transformed the struggle into achievement. I want to thank you for joining me and for carrying this message of Indian Arrival to all you come in contact with. I also want to suggest that similar things happened in the entire Indian diaspora. So this is not only peculiar to Trinidad and Tobago, but the NCIC has also sought to promote an understanding of Indian culture, even up the islands in Guadeloupe, in Jamaica, in Belize, and so that we have a better understanding with Suriname, Guyana, and all of these places. So I want to thank you for listening, and please share this information on your various social media platforms. And so that we have, and I want to take the opportunity to wish all the members and executive officers of the NCIC, the hardworking people behind the scenes who have kept the NCIC alive to this day and continue to work hard to promote the Indian culture in the society. Thank you again.